Hello everyone, this is Tyler with the Whimsical Woodworker. I'm down in the shop today working on designing some things. I had a friend ask how I make the puzzles in VCarve. I've made some puzzles and some stools for kids where the letters are removable and go into a negative or an inlay. So today we're going to talk about how to do that. So the first part of this video is going to be done on the computer here in VCarve Pro 9.5. And then we're going to go over to the CNC and we're going to cut the stool, and I'm going to give you a few tips and tricks on how to get that part done. So the first part, like normal, we go ahead and choose our job dimensions. I've already done that. I've set out the letters I'm going to use, and now we're just going to go ahead and save this and go over and just do a standard cut like we normally would, but we're going to come over here and use the inlay toolpath. And for now, we're going to start with our male inlay. We want to use the straight inlay, 13.8, okay. We're going to use our standard bit, our 1/8 inch bit, okay. 4 passes is good, yep, okay. And calculate. So go ahead and make sure this looks good. Yep. So the first thing we're always going to do is we're always going to cut the letters out first, which is going to be what they call the male. Okay, that way in case you get a little bit too tight of a fit on the female, you can make the female just a little bit bigger without having to redo any tool paths. Okay, so we'll delete. These are from the last stool I did. Okay, so we've got the male done. We're going to go ahead and save that. The letters, to be able to go in and out, you actually have to make the female portion just a little bit bigger. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here, back to our 2D. And through trial and error, I've found out that 1.5 millimeters is the trick. I believe it was 1. It might have been 1.5. It's been a while since I've made one of these. So we're going to start with 1 because we can always take away more wood. Can't add any more. Okay, so outwards and right. Boom. Okay, now our female is big enough. What we're going to do now is give your finger somewhere to go when you're trying to pull the letters out. And so we're going to drag that square here. You'll notice that I went ahead and rounded the edges on this just to make it a little bit better looking. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and chop these out just like I normally would if I was making any other of my cuts where I've got overlapping vectors. So we got to come back and get the inside of this A out. Oh, and we got to get the side of the D. Okay. Alright, so now that is what we're going to call as our female. So check to make sure we got all our vectors closed. Okay, we're good. So now we're going to go over here to inlay again. In this part we're going to do a pocket. Okay. Select tool. And I think I'm going to use an 1/8 inch end mill. You probably could use a 1/4 inch end mill here if you wanted to, if you didn't have really any tight curves, but I prefer to use the same bit that I'm cutting the female as that I'm cutting the male with. That way the radiuses match. So yeah, be sure you use the same bit. It's going to take you a little bit longer to cut this whole, hog this whole area out with the 1/8 inch, but like I said, the radiuses will match. So there we go. Alright. Calculate that. Okay. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to reset this preview and I want to just watch the female. Okay. And then you'll notice we are almost right on the cut line there. We've got a little bit of overlap. You know, we're going to go ahead and go back and do this to 1.5. Okay, and now we're ready to go over to the CNC. Alright, so here we are, chucked up in the big CNC. I've got the workpiece centered on 0. It is 17 3/4 inches this way, and it is 7 inches this way. It's a 2x8. So yeah, we're ready to cut. Let's go ahead and get this show on the road. This is the female. I already cut the male portion of the letters off camera, so let's go ahead and get started with this one. Alright, so here we have the first layer. I always like to check at the end of the first pass just to make sure my letters are fitting good. As you can see, it's a good thing I went ahead and made the file at 1.5, because here we are with a very, very good fit. So off camera, I'll go ahead and finish the next several passes. That one pass took 12 minutes 45 seconds, and it's going to take 4 runs at it, so it'll be about an hour worth of cutting, and yeah, it'll be ready to go. Just add some legs to it, and we'll do that in the next part of the video. Alright, so now that that cut's done, we flipped over the piece, go ahead and re-zeroed, and changed out the bit to a 1/4 inch down cut double flute spiral bit, and we're going to go ahead and cut our 2 dados, and that'll prevent me from having to set up the dado blade on the table saw. It's a really quick operation, so let's go ahead and run that. Here we have the finished part of the stool for the top. I do need to cut an A where it got a little bit caught in the bit there, but on the back side we've got our dados cut and ready for the legs, and we'll do that part next. So I went ahead and cut the legs out. I cut the little divider piece for the center to keep the legs nice and sturdy, and it's worked out really good cutting the dados on the CNC because they're exactly the size I want them to be. Didn't have to set up the table saw, the sled, the dado stack, didn't have to do any of that. So I took these 2 pieces at 3/4, I taped them together with my method with the super glue. You can see a link to that video in the cards. And then I cut them out on the bandsaw and then sanded them smooth on the oscillating bench sander. And then I separated the 2, and now we have 2 exact pieces of legs. So what we're going to do now is we're going to glue this thing up, and then we're going to clamp it. Alright, so now that we got the glue all set up and the clamps tight, we're just going to rub it down with some sawdust. Alright, so that's going to about do it for tonight. We'll come back tomorrow, pull the clamps off, we'll see the product before finishing, and then we'll decide what color we're going to paint it, what stain we're going to use on the actual stool itself, and we'll be able to give it to the new owner. Alright, so here's the stool all glued up and dried. The customer actually wants to finish this one, so this is as far as I'm going to take this job. The letters fit quite well. If you wanted a little bit tighter of fit, you could go with that 1 millimeter we discussed earlier. But besides that, this is ready to go. Oh, and one more thing. If you glue all this up and the stool rocks a little bit, you can sand each individual leg down here on either side, whichever the high sides are. Just sand a little bit each time. This one is quite level on this good surface here, the table saw. So this one's ready to go. Once again, thanks for watching today, and
Have a good evening. If you like what you saw, like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.